Overtired. So tired. Overtired.
Hey, it's overtired. I'm so tired. Oh my god. We all three of your favorite hosts are here today. We've got me, Brett Terpstra. We've got Christina Warren. Hey, Christina. And
Hello.
we have Jeff Severns Gunsel, who is fresh off of a birthday celebration. How's it going,
Happy
Jeff?
birthday, Jeff.
Thank you. Thank you. 50, 50, 50. The last day of the rest of my life. Just
You know,
kidding.
50 is the
I-
new 40 is what they're saying. So like, it's really
Yeah,
just kind of like the start.
it's a weird number. It's a weird one. I was like saying to somebody, maybe I wrote this, that like, I feel like turning 20, turning 30 felt like skin in my teeth. Like I barely made it. And 40 felt like inevitable and kind of disappointing. And 50 feels good. Weirdly, just feels good. Feels like, yeah, I made it. It feels like I made it. Like feels like a not a finish line, but like,
I love it.
all right, cool. I made it this far. Everything else is bonus.
I'll turn 50 last year. Last year I started dating a 50-year-old woman, which is weird because, or a 50-year-old person, sorry, which is weird because I still think of myself as like 25.
Did you just say last year you'll turn 50?
Last August, yeah,
40.
50.
My God, start over. I'm so tired. I know you've been up and getting sleep. I got sleep and still I'm just hungover from I didn't even drink at my party, but we had it at a venue, and it was so much work getting ready, bringing everything over there. It wasn't even that much stuff, but like it was enough. It was like a minivan load, and then like we had an hour for setup, and then we did the party, and then we had to break it down. And for some reason, maybe it's because I'm 50, that was exhausting, and I felt hungover the next morning despite not drinking at all.
No, I think
That
that's
sucks.
fair. I think that's fair. I think that that's one of those things where it's like, you're totally like allowed to be, what was going to say, like tired and all that other stuff. Like it's just one of those
Yeah.
things.
Yeah. And also it's a tiring day. We don't have to get into it, but it is inauguration day. And
Yeah.
we can probably just leave it there.
And that's basically all we have
Yeah, I
to
don't
say
want to
about
talk
that.
about it.
No,
Yeah,
but I do think it's lending to a sense of malaise.
Oh,
Sure.
for sure. No, because it was one of those things. So like, I'll get into it with when we talk about mental health corner. But like, I've got like some stuff going on myself, and it's technically like a public holiday today because it is Martin Luther King
MLK.
Day, and so it was just like one of those like things where I'm just like, okay,
Is the inauguration always on Martin Luther King Day?
no.
Okay, that's just such a fucked up coincidence then
Yeah.
that we're
I mean, I'm sure it's happened before.
inaugurating a racist on MLK Day.
We've inaugurated our
I
fair
was
share
gonna
of
say,
racists.
I was gonna
on
say,
MLK Day, come on.
oh, I'm sure that has also happened before. I mean,
On
keep in
my
mind,
birth,
and yeah, exactly, and yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, I mean the irony is right there, and then of course it's happening like a week after, 2 weeks after Jimmy Carter's funeral. And they had to have it indoors because of the cold or whatever. And so, like, I made a comment that got way more viral than I expected it to be because the joke was in the comment. But I was like, it's kind of fitting that this is taking place, indoors because it feels really claustrophobic and like a funeral. And then everybody responds as, well, it is a funeral for democracy. And I'm like, yes, that was the joke. Literally, that was the joke.
I find discussing it, for the most part, I'm not referring to this. I find if I am in a small group and somebody brings up the moment, I find it deeply unsatisfying to engage because it's just like, I don't know. I can't even put my finger on it exactly, but it's like somebody says something intensely obvious and then
Right.
everyone else shakes their head, and we do need to vent and we do need to like have some sense of sort
Yeah.
of solidarity and community, but there's something about this moment that's not quite what it is. It's like we're all just prepared, including myself, to just like blurt out the last terrible thing we heard or thought about, and it's very exhausting right now. I was like, when you need me for the resistance, call me.
Right.
but I don't want to talk about it. Just assume I'm in.
Right. Right. No, but this was just like a one-off, like innocuous
That's so
post, and
funny.
it has
Christina, it is a funeral.
and I'm like, right, that was what I put in the post. Anyway, it has like 425 reposts and like 7,200 likes and 401 responses. And all the
Whoa,
responses aren't the
geez.
same.
Well,
This is what I'm saying. Like this was like blue sky viral. I was like, okay, guys. I'm like
yeah.
ending thread because I don't. This is too much. Also, it's like again, yeah, that was the joke.
Well, I
Well, in
wanna
case you missed it, Christina, someone was there to help you see what you were
I'm
doing.
so glad that like people were able to like explain my joke to me. Like I'm
Yeah.
really really appreciative
And
of
if
that.
you need us today to explain anything to you that comes from you, we'll do that. Because
we
you
I
got
love
don't
it.
you
even
got
have to
two
ask.
men
You
here.
don't even have
We're
to
ready.
ask. You just say
Yeah.
it, and we'll jump in, and we'll tell you
We'll
why
tell
what
you
you
what
said
you're
was
saying,
funny.
why it's funny, why it's wrong if it's wrong. I mean, we're here.
Or
We got you.
or
Yeah,
We
j-
got
j-
you.
just repeat what I said back to me.
Yeah,
Oh,
we'll
what
just
you mean is
reiterate
just
it
this.
for
repeat.
you.
Yeah.
What you mean is this. Oh, that.
So I do want to talk about why I missed Jeff's birthday party, but first, well, let's do a mental health corner. Christina, you alluded to some stuff going on. You
Yeah.
want to start?
Yeah. So, as we were recording this on Martin Luther King Day, on January 20th, 2025. God, 2025. That sounds so weird to say.
Hmm.
This is my last day at GitHub. And so after almost 3 years there and 7.5, little more than that, within the Microsoft family, I'm done.
Wow.
I'm not going to announce where I'm going for my next job. I've got 2 weeks off. But that news will be coming up. But that has been the thing that has kind of defined my mental health for the last couple of weeks is trying to kind of figure out like, am I going to take this new job, this opportunity that I'm excited about? But with that excitement comes like the sadness of leaving a team and a company that has been fantastic to me and people that I just adore working with and people that I couldn't be more proud to or honored to have had the opportunity to be with. I was a GitHub fan long before I ever joined tech, and I will remain one, until the end. And so that's been it because this is, putting in all the time here. Like if you count the Microsoft and GitHub time together, this is the longest job I've ever had, and so obviously there were like a lot of emotions around that. So
Yeah.
that's my mental health corner basically.
Yeah, that's that is a long time in tech.
Yeah.
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 To stick even if you switch from Microsoft to GitHub and still stayed in the Microsoft kind of umbrella, that's 7 years. That's crazy.
Close to 8, yeah. It's 7.5, a
I
little more than 7.5, yeah.
I
Amazing.
did the indie thing for that long, but I've never held a tech job for that long.
So what combination sad, excited, whatever, grieving, like what is the stew right now?
I think that I think I'm at peace, right? So like last week was like the week that I had to kind of like make it was kind of, telling people and kind of, just all that stuff. And like there was a lot going in with that. And we also had an offsite last week. So my whole team was together in person, which was awesome, but was also makes it that much harder, right? Because you're talking about the things to me doing, in the next little bit and talking about, processes and whatnot, and then seeing people and then knowing you're going to be saying goodbye. And so I think peace is where I'm at now. So I went through the grieving stuff and I went through kind of the sadness. And I definitely cried a lot last week. And then I did karaoke with my teammates and we had the final day of the offsite, which was actually this was a great concept, and shout out to Ashley for she'll never listen to this, but shout out anyway. Ashley Billis for putting the whole thing together because what she did for the final day, and I thought it was really smart. And if I ever have the opportunity to do something like this, I would steal it. Was we had like the first 2 days were traditional kind of offsite stuff, and then the third day it was all just like board games because some people were flying out, some people already flew out Thursday night, but some people were still there. People who were still around, we played like board games and like had movies and snacks and just like hung out. And it wasn't, it was just kind of like a rain day at school.
Yeah,
And
not a big party, but like
right, it
actually
was
a
just
more kind of quiet, intimate thing.
and it was cool because like playing some of the board games and stuff, like we played this one called Spyfall, I think is what it's called. And it's like this British card game. It's really fun. And they have there's a sequel apparently to like an online version would be really fun. But like we played like games like that, and I can't remember what the other one was called, but there was one where like you're either like spies or you're, like on the good team, and you have to like try to figure out like if you can, keep the mission or not. And it was I don't know, games like that, I feel like you get to know people better, and there are also some really like
Yeah.
fun opportunities from just a bonding perspective, getting to see how people work and whatnot that can actually be really good for team building, but also for figuring out like, okay, well, how can we think strategically, or like how, I don't know. I feel like there are like non-interpersonal corollaries where like doing these interpersonal types of games can pay off. Anyway, I thought it was great. It was just really nice to be chill. It was just kind of like, like I said, kind of like a snow day sort of thing, even though it wasn't
Yeah.
snowing. And that was a really nice way to be able to say goodbye to folks, and I really appreciated that. So I
That's
think I'm
awesome.
I'm I'm at peace. Yeah, it's been sad, goodbyes and endings, even when like they're for the right reasons, and even when you do it like out of no sense of malice or anything other than it just being like I had an opportunity that I that is the best thing for my career, and that's all it is. It's nothing, not indicative of how happy I am with the company that I work at or what they're doing or anything like that. Like it's literally just about what's best for me right now. So I'm feeling okay, but like it is also one of those like I went through all those grieving process steps, the sadness and the fear and the excitement and all that other stuff. And so but I think the good part of that is I feel like I went through all of that, and now like we're here, and I'm like, okay, now I can just be, I have 2 weeks off. I've never had 2 weeks between jobs before, ever.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Like when I moved across the country, I like my final day at work was like on a Friday. And then like the movers came or something, I think like on Tuesday. And then I think we flew out on Thursday or Friday to go to Seattle. And then I started work on Monday. So I
Wow.
I had I
Jeez,
had a
that's
week off.
insane.
That is
That's
insane,
rough.
right? So I had a week off, but the week off was spent like literally moving across the country.
Mhm.
So I've never had 2 weeks between jobs in my life. So
Yeah.
I'm a
Are
little bit
you
unsure what to do.
are you not moving for your new one?
I'm not. I'm at least not right now.
Cool.
So staying put. So I don't know. There's like a part of me. I'm like trying to find these things like last minute is hard, but I'm kind of like, and I would love to, take someone else with me if I could, but it's way too last minute for that. But I'm like, can I go on a cruise? So I'm trying to see if I can get on a cruise next week or
Oh,
something.
nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Wow. All right. Well, Jeff, how are you?
I am doing good. Yeah, doing good. It was nice to have a birthday and have a birthday feel good. It was nice to have a party. It was nice to see a lot of people. I haven't had a party since I was 33. And that was a kickball game. It was really fun.
Wait,
And
what? Oh, not
when I
not
was
not
God no.
today. Or
No,
not
because here's the
okay.
thing. When I had a kickball game when I was 33, someone broke a rib, someone else broke a finger, and I was like, all right, we might be getting too old to be doing this stuff for birthdays. So I kept it real simple.
Tell us about the party though. I got the invite. It said it was a like TV party, and I didn't
Yeah,
know if it was a Black Flag thing or what was happening.
no, okay, I'm going to tell you what it was, and then I'm going to tell you my reflections on the difference between sentimentality and nostalgia.
Okay.
Basically I've had this idea forever. Like the original idea, like a couple years ago, was like to do to do 3 straight nights in my living room on the TV with different guests every night of watching some primetime show from my youth. So I had this idea of like one night it's like Grizzly Adams, you serve like meatloaf. Next night it's like Barney Miller and you serve TV dinners and like that kind of thing. And I really liked that. But what it finally became was like we rented a space, really lovely, kind of open space near our house. And there was like it's where they do music lessons and stuff, but it's a big open room. And so they have all these sound baffles and they have a PA, and I rented like a screen and a projector. And then I I cracked into Adobe Premiere and I edited together like 40 minutes of essentially like simulated a simulated 40 minutes of channel surfing in roughly 1983. Um, and so it was like you kind of hover over a couple shows that you land on for like an act, and then there's commercials in between. So I had the pornographic bakery episode of Barney Miller, which for anyone that doesn't know was a cop show that lasted like 8 seasons that was
Great
only
show.
ever in one room. Yeah, it was amazing. It just happened in one room in their filthy headquarters in what seemed like a basement. Really strong cast. Then I landed on, we hovered on Laverne and Shirley for a minute, episode where they're training for a wrestling exhibition. And then just a quick scene from WKRP in Cincinnati, Johnny Fever and Venus Flytrap featuring in this particular one. And then ended on like the final act of an A-Team where like the oxyacetylene torch comes out and Mr. T is wrapping dynamite and they're getting ready to they're making their villain trap. And then, but the really fun thing was, I went looking for commercials to put in between, and I found some amazing commercials that there was a fair amount of like really great early computing commercials. And the way that I found the ones that were kind of my favorite was like people have posted like all these YouTube videos where it's like 2 hours of a VHS like SP recording of television, 1983, 1982. I mean, I don't know if it would have been, it had to be VHS, but anyway. And so you can just scrub through it and pull commercials. There's an amazing commercial that was just a montage of people. Someone pops up and they're like CRT monitors behind him, and he's like, I bought a computer, but then I found out I don't like computing. And it's just like back and forth between people who go, I love computing and I don't like it. I hate computing. And then there was just like, it was like a great Commodore 64 ad that was like the only computer you're ever gonna need. And then like there was a great like Bell Labs like phone commercial advertising one of those phones that has like buttons along the side with names of your people, and you just press it. It's like, imagine making a phone call by just pressing their name. And like, as obvious as that is, because obviously tech has changed, I managed to find this like grouping of commercials that were kind of fascinating to take in and realize like it's that thing where you're like, Jesus Christ. Like I remember when I was growing up, I was like, Grandma, you grew up when there wasn't TV, or like, Mom, you were there when it went color. And like, we've surpassed that. We've surpassed many of the horrors that like our parents experienced, not our grandparents. They had World War II. And it was just like one of those things that helps you kind of mark time. It was just lovely to have to go through a bunch of Laverne and Shirley and Barney Miller episodes, and
Nice.
what charming stuff that was. Okay, so the nostalgia versus sentimentality part, because I was like, I don't like theme birthday parties. I'm not against them. I just don't like them. And I don't really like era theme birthday parties. And so I was sort of doing that. But it was just that, like, there was not really much else going on that was on sort of the theme of the 80s or something, other than that I come from the 70s and the 80s, by the way, because that's when I really started remembering TV. But like, I realized like nostalgia, like Star Wars fandom and things like that, like always feels like this like longing to go back to a time and a place, or to go back to to embody a moment that you were in. And I feel like sentimentality for me is like bringing the moment forward and just like enjoying the feeling of right now. And there's like no longing in it. There's no regret in it. There's no desire to look back. And that, doing this with like that approach was really sweet and really fun. And I didn't get locked into, cause like I was worried if I start going through old commercials, old TV shows, I'm just going to get like, my stomach's going to turn after some point. Cause I'm like, I just want to be back in the now.
Right.
But I just found it was almost like an academic pursuit to like go looking at these things as history, and super fun. So anyway, and people loved it. It was really like delightful to have people laughing at things that I thought were funny, and that I very specifically ordered the commercials, and both in terms of like in a commercial break, but then over time. And like there was the Empire commercial. Everyone know the Empire song? 588 2300
300 Empire. Yeah.
So I put one of those in. And as they were singing that, you could hear it rising up in the group of people until everyone hit Empire as like a crescendo.
And everybody's
It
just
was
like,
just
yeah.
it was delightful. Yeah. And then just because I haven't had a birthday in forever, I invited widely. And so it was also just delightful to see. It's like a wedding or something. You see people from different parts of your life that should not be in the room together. And there they are in the room together. And you could introduce people that you always knew would kind of like enjoy each other. And that was cool. Because I don't go out. I felt like when I saw all the people accepting the invite coming in, I was like, I think I need to just get up to a microphone and say, I owe you all a call. Like that's how I felt. Like these are all the people I don't really reach out to enough. But I didn't feel obligated to do that. So that just felt nice. It felt nice to celebrate like a moment and to like allow a ritual or something because I haven't really allowed that at birthday time, including when I was 40. So it was great.
Well, happy birthday.
Thanks.
Um,
It's the most I've ever said about my birthday.
I love it.
all right. Well, mine's going to be a combination health, mental health, obviously.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I got some diagnoses, which I'm pretty excited about. I got hypermobile spectrum disorder, which is kind of like I didn't have enough hypermobility to have hypermobile Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. So I'm more on a spectrum, but that spectrum can include a lot of the symptoms that I do have. Also mast cell activation syndrome, which relates a lot to kind of the histamine reactions and burning skin that I have. And what else? There was like a whole smorgasbord. Let's see. Thoracic outlet syndrome.
That one sounds awesome, actually.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Sounds
That
real
leads
good.
to a lot of like numbness in my face and stuff like that. Geez, I'm totally the reason I'm blanking is because I'm working really hard to stay conscious right now. I am
Oh my God.
super
It didn't occur to me you could pass out while we're recording.
I didn't I'm not yeah, I'm not usually this faint when I'm sitting. I don't know what's going on right now. I ran upstairs to get more water and salt and realized that was a really bad idea like halfway through. Oh, POTS. POTS is the other one.
Right.
Postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome, which is what makes me, pass out when I stand up. It's why I'm wearing a binder around my abdomen right now because I have to squeeze blood into my head and I have to drink
Wow.
3 liters of water with 5 grams of salt a day. And 5 grams is a lot of salt if you've ever kept track of your salt intake. We found this stuff called Element, LMNT, that has 1,000 milligrams of salt per packet. So 5 of those mixed in with 4 or 5 bottles of water, and I can stay hydrated. It's not a matter of hydration. That much water and salt increases your blood volume, which makes it less work for your legs to pump your blood to your head when you stand up. I also had to raise my bed. I had to put cinder blocks under the front legs of my bed so that it's at like maybe a 10-degree slope, so that my blood pools in my legs while I'm sleeping. It's all very confusing to me, but because I got diagnoses, I was able to start some of these treatments and we were able to figure out exactly what I needed to do. And I started a couple new meds, made a couple of changes to existing meds, and I'm really grateful. I found this EDS clinic because of our friend Brian Duffy.
Mhm.
They posted it on a Facebook thread, and I immediately checked it out and got into a Minneapolis or a St. Cloud-based doctor, and we did a telehealth session. And I had just gotten some vitals from Gunderson that morning that I was able to share. And thanks to her, I was able to get a diagnosis that I could then go back to my primary care physician with. And I also got referrals to a bunch of like EDS aware physical therapy places. And I had to, one of the meds I'm on had to come from a compounding pharmacy. Do you know what that is?
No.
Mm-mm.
it's a pharmacy that can make drugs for you.
Oh, yeah, I
And
do know that. Yeah, because a lot of
and
people
there
have
are
them for like the Ogilvy and things like that. Like you can get them cheaper than paying for like Ozempic over the counter, like
right.
especially if your
Well,
insurance
and
will cover it, you can get
there
them
are
that.
some drugs, like the drug that I'm on is used to as it's not Narcan, but it's used to counteract opiate overdoses.
Gotcha.
Um, Naproxen, I think it's
Oh
called.
yeah,
Yes,
right.
yes, that's what it
But
is. Yeah.
it's not profitable enough that any drug company will actually make it. So the only way you can get this drug is through a compounding pharmacy. So that's, I don't know, it's kind of fun to like have them manufacture my drugs for me.
And are these from? I mean, are these, for lack of any real terminology, like open source drugs that people are like, yeah, we know how
Kind
to
of,
do
yeah,
this. They just
basically.
don't have
Patent free.
patent free,
Yeah.
DRM free.
Yeah. Right.
Interesting. So these diagnoses, are they things that typically are chained together, or are they
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
utterly
So all of
okay?
these fit under the umbrella of dysautonomia, which is what I knew going into it. I knew that my symptoms like had to be dysautonomia of some kind.
Okay.
And that encompasses or comprises, I think probably 13 different disorders and syndromes. And so, like, generally, if you have one, you probably are, there's probably comorbidities with at least one other. It's really common to like EDS and POTS almost, I would say 90% of the time seem to go hand in hand,
Mm,
based on people I've talked to. I know, I know one family where the daughter has EDS and the son has POTS, but they don't share the two. Um, anyway, it's yeah. So like things are better than the last time we talked, and in general, I'm functioning better. Today has been especially rough, partly because the insomnia. The night before, I was up because I had like skin burning in the middle of the night and I couldn't fall back asleep.
mm.
I don't know what got me up last night, but out of the last, I want to say month, there's only been 2 days that I've slept more than 5 hours, which has me super run down.
I
And
bet.
like 2 nights ago, I slept for like 9 hours and I had a pretty good day.
What's your
But then
magic number for sleep? Like,
my magic number is 9. I do
yeah,
really well with 10,
yeah,
but I can never get 10. Um, and yeah, that doesn't. The 10 hours of sleep doesn't generally work if you want to have like family time and a day job.
yeah.
And I also enjoy a little TV watching at night. But
Yes, as we do in this day and age,
I'm
and
having
forever.
I'm having pretty severe histamine reactions, which means I need to go on a low histamine diet. And there
What's
are
a low histamine diet?
so things like raspberries and tomatoes, legumes, like all of these foods are high histamine.
Mm-hmm.
And I could not explain histamine to you at this point. I'm still learning. But like if I tried raspberry sorbet last night, and after I had some kimchi rice, kimchi fermented foods in general are high histamine.
Okay.
So I think I was having an extinction reaction to like knowing I was gonna have to give up histamine. So I was like, eat all the histamines. And I got like multiple burning spots on my skin, like intense burning. And I went and took antihistamines and rubbed a bunch of aloe on myself and got through it okay. But yeah, like that's part of the MCAS, the mast cell stuff. Um,
So
yeah,
is this something that was dormant in you? Is it
yeah.
something?
Yeah, it's very likely that I've had the mast cell since childhood. Like I've had that burning skin feeling since at least middle school, maybe earlier.
Okay.
And I just had always, I made a bunch of assumptions. At first, I assumed everyone felt like that. And
Yeah.
then as I got older and I started getting into drugs and alcohol, I always associated that feeling with getting sober. So
Mm,
when I started to feel that, I would go and do more drugs and it would
I
help.
mean,
And
yeah.
I thought that feeling was just withdrawal. And like So I would go like 2 weeks without a drug, thinking I was getting through the detox, but the feeling wouldn't go away, and it would
Yeah.
just never go away. And yeah, and I would eventually end up doing drugs again. But
Huh.
yeah, now I know that feeling is mast cell, and I can do things. I have interventions for it. I can't drink anymore. Drinking makes the pots pretty crazy.
Mm.
And so like if I right now I'm blacking out just sitting down. If I had a beer, I would be out. I
Mm-hmm.
would be unconscious,
Mm-hmm.
and not from the alcohol, but from the effect of the alcohol on my blood flow.
Wow.
Yeah, so this is fun stuff. Making progress though, pretty excited to actually be moving forward on this. Like, because I got depressed.
Yeah.
Just how my whole life kind of suddenly got turned upside down. Oh, in
Yeah.
answer to your question, my psychiatrist, kind of your unspoken question, my psychiatrist
You can read my
said,
mind. I don't like
yeah,
it. Okay.
said
Good
that
to know.
she and her daughter, both their symptoms really began shortly after their COVID booster. And none of us
Uh,
want to be like a conspiracy anti-vaxxer thing about it. Like
yeah.
none of us are anti-vaccine. But her anecdotal evidence, or her story, was that like it seemed to kick, and she had heard from other people too, that the booster kicked off the symptoms. And I had the booster in October, and my symptoms started in November.
Huh.
So just from an anecdotal standpoint, it is possible in my
I don't
mind.
think those wonderings make you an anti-vaxxer or conspiracy minded. I mean, it's always, this is the problem with the moment we are and we're in, is like there's always a possibility that there's something about this vaccine that we couldn't anticipate and that we made a sacrifice in order to kind of like deal with an emergency. Like I remember like when I got the vaccine first, my attitude was like, give it to me like acupuncture, like just put it all over me. I'll take it. But I also knew in saying that like, down the road, I don't actually know what's going to happen. And we're
Yeah.
probably just, in that zone, the beginning of that zone where we start to see and wonder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm past
Well,
the depression now.
that's
Um,
wonderful.
I am on to the just dealing with it, just learning to exist with whatever's going on now. It's already become kind of normal for me to feel like this, and it no longer feels like I'm suddenly disabled. I'm actually, I'm working, I'm functioning. I clean the kitchen whenever I can. But when I was getting ready to leave for Jeff's birthday party, I was feeling well enough to clean all the litters, clean up the kitchen, put away all the stuff in the living room around my little couch nest, and leave the house so that Elle could enjoy the night of not having me in the house,
Yeah.
and wouldn't have to do a bunch of chores just to feel comfortable in the house. I tried to make that work. And then I think that was the second big bummer for me about missing the party, was like I always get excited to give Elle the house
Yeah. Yeah.
because
Right.
they get the house so rarely. I am always home.
Yeah.
And I got a hotel, and I was gonna like let them just for a night. It was one night.
Yeah.
But and then I had to go home, and then I ended up on the couch, and then I had a really bad night, to the extent that I was kind of glad that I didn't go.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's talk about. So I was going to take a train. I can't drive right now, but I was going to take a train to go to Jeff's birthday party, and I'm
Which
in
is so
Minnesota.
sweet, Brett, which is so sweet. And say to the listeners, you're about how far from us?
It's a 2-hour drive. It's a 2-hour train ride. And I was gonna take a train, which I was also kind of excited about. I
Oh,
sprung
Yeah.
it's the
for
best. It's the
sprung
best.
for the business
Yeah.
class seat, which I've never even ridden coach on an Amtrak. I usually end up in a sleeper car
Mm.
or business class, and from what I've seen, the coach seats are nice. Like
I
It
nothing.
think it
looks
depends.
really nice.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think they're fine. I mean, I've never been in a sleeper car, so I've only been on the Acela, or I guess like probably coach. I mean, they're fine.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was looking forward to it. But here in Minnesota, it was about uh, -10. And um, Amtrak canceled the 2 trains that were running after mine and left mine TBD on the app all the way up until departure time. And
God.
they never put a departure time on it. So I showed up at the train station to see what was up. And
Ooh, this sounds like the beginning of a not terribly great train song. Keep going. I showed up at the train station. Sorry, I got nothing.
just to see what was up.
Yeah.
And a young woman had just gotten off the phone with Amtrak and informed me that they were going to send a bus. The train was gone. They were going to send a bus. It was going to be like an hour, but they were going to get us all to the cities. And I just left because
Yeah.
I hate buses. I I bought a train ticket because I hate buses.
Yeah.
And B, like I was already cutting it close to get to Jeff's party. And waiting an hour for a bus that was going to take almost 3 hours to get there meant I was going to show up at a point in the evening where I was already going to be too tired to function. And it just wouldn't have been fun. And Jeff's party was the only reason I was going. And if I was going to miss that, then there wasn't a lot of points. So I'm currently
Yeah.
trying to get some kind of refund or credit for my hotel and my train tickets, but I haven't had luck yet.
I would love to take a long train ride. I've contemplated the Chicago line that they now have from Twin Cities to Chicago.
They did a promo, and Dave Chartier, who you guys may know,
Who?
did
I don't know who that is.
he was a writer at TUA, moved down to Ars Technica. I don't know what he's
Got
doing
it.
these days. He's the reason I have my career.
Yeah,
He started
buddy.
writing about Mood Blast, my first app, written mostly in Apple script, and he started writing about it. He was writing about every release I put out, and he was writing about it. And I started getting more and more readers and more followers, and pretty soon it led to like job offers. And so I credit him with everything I am today.
I love that.
But he took part in Amtrak's promotion where they were paying people to write. They
Yeah.
would give them free train rides cross country, and
So
all
do
you
one
had
of
to
my
do was write about Amtrak now and then, but they wanted you to work on like a novel or your
Yep.
next big thing.
That's
And they were
amazing.
just paying people to ride
Yeah.
the train and write.
Oh
Yeah,
my
one
God.
of my colleagues got Chris Taylor got that too, and he got like they call it like a fellowship or something. I think
Yeah.
like the Amtrak fellowship. Yeah, Chris Taylor
Yeah.
was part of that as well, and I was like, that sounds really cool. I would hate it. Like I would hate it, but I think for many types of people, there is something very romantic about like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Romantic is the word. Nostalgic even.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna skip talking about Meta and Zuck, and I don't even
I
want
don't
to.
care.
no
I don't want to talk about.
problem.
I don't want to talk about the inauguration or about Meta.
Hey, I feel like if that's what you want, there's a lot of podcast options.
I do want to tell you about the Sunny in Philadelphia connection that came up for me this week.
Okay.
So I watched all the way through Abbott Elementary, starring Glenn Howerton, who was
Yeah.
Dennis on Sunny. That show is amazing. I've seen it through twice. I love it. He's a school teacher who refuses to teach AP Bio. Oh no, I'm not Abbott Elementary. I'm sorry, AP Bio. We're talking about AP Bio.
Mm-hmm.
I get the two mixed up, but he's a school teacher who refuses to teach AP Bio. Tells all his students they'll get an A as long as they don't tell anyone he's not teaching. And he begins using them to. He's very revenge focused. He always wants revenge on somebody, and he focuses this advanced student group on helping him come up with revenge plots.
Oh.
And occasionally to help him come up with like the perfect date or whatever. And there's a bunch of really creative, really smart kids, and they help him. Oh, it's so good.
It's a good premise.
So I've watched that, and then I started watching High Potential, which stars Caitlin Olsen who was the sister on Sunny in Philadelphia.
Hmm.
And that show I haven't watched all the way through. It's new and I'm really enjoying it. She is a cleaning lady with a very high IQ, that so high that they call it high potential intellect, and so high that she has trouble holding on to jobs because her mind is just always like churning and noticing. And she's so smart, she ends up being a cleaning lady and working low-end jobs. And she starts accidentally solving crimes for the police department. Because
good.
she can't not fix something. There's like an OCD aspect to it when she sees a mistake. So at night she's cleaning and she's crossing stuff out on the murder board. And be like, no, this is the victim. And they're mad at her, but then she proves she's right and she solves cases and they bring her on as like a full-time consultant. And she dresses just like a trailer trash porn star. Like big like zebra striped jackets with really like the pom-pom pink cuffs and everything, and the mini skirts, and it's amazing. And then I saw a movie called Self-Reliance, and it stars Charlie Day. Wait, no, I'm kidding. I'm so faint right now. It wasn't Self-Reliance, wasn't Charlie Kelly, was it?
If you pass out, it's going to take me like 3 hours to get to you. You know that, right?
Yeah, I know, because there's only buses. Yeah, no, it's not Charlie. What did I watch with Charlie Day?
What do I look like, your roommate?
Oh my
I'm,
God.
I'm literally looking up his IMDb right now to like try to see
Christina,
Fool's
way to be
Fool's
useful. All I
Paradise?
made was a smart ass. Come on.
Yeah, that's Fool's Paradise. That's the one. That movie was okay. Was it a movie or was it
Yeah,
a
that's a
show?
movie. Yeah, that's a movie.
Yeah. That
Am I
movie
even
was
here
okay.
right now?
The movie I actually wanted to talk about, and now I've lost the whole Sunny
Connection.
in Sunny in Philadelphia connection. It's actually a New Girl connection, which
Ah.
kind of, I mean, for me, they kind of connect because it was an era. But the movie is called Self-Reliance.
Oh, this is
And
the okay, yeah, and it looks like
it
Jake
stars
Johnson, Anna
Nick
Kendrick.
Miller. Yeah.
Right.
And it looks
He's the
dumb.
director too.
Yeah, it looks dumb, but I decided to give it a chance, and it's actually so the premise, and I won't give the movie away, but the premise is that he is pulled off the street into a limousine and offered $1 million to be hunted and stay alive for 30 days.
This is my specific fantasy.
So
And
it's a Mr. Beast skit.
kind of, but the catch is they can't kill him if he's with somebody. He has to be alone to die.
Right.
And so the whole he calls it a loophole, but it's just a rule, is that he has to be with somebody all the time, and that's how you
Right.
survive. And he's kind of a loner. He lives with his mom, and his family doesn't believe that this game
Right.
is real, so they
So they don't
refuse to hang out with him.
Right. Right, because usually you just be like, "Bro, I will split this money with you. You just have to like stay by my side for 30 days. It's
Yeah.
fine."
Right. And so he meets Anna Kendrick, who's also ostensibly playing the game, and they team up. And what it ends up being is kind of a heartwarming, like this is what this guy had to do to develop human connection with someone that would actually stand him for that long. And by
Right.
the end, even the viewer is not sure. Like, he becomes an unreliable narrator, and you're not certain the game is real either. You're
Okay.
not certain it's going to be one of
Ah.
those things where like the camera pans out and nothing else is there, and he's just alone yelling at himself in a warehouse. And
Like a Mr. Beast sketch. Sorry, I keep making that
yeah.
joke.
So it gets trippy, it gets heartwarming. It's really well done. I really enjoy him as an actor. I love New Girl. He was my favorite character on New Girl. Yeah. So okay, so it started as a Sunny in Philadelphia connection, morphed into a New Girl connection, and that, my friends, is Brett's Media Corner for this week.
Thanks, Brett.
Thanks, Brett.
Yep. Have you guys seen High Potential at all?
No.
I recommend if you enjoy like, I mean, it's a worn out premise for a show, but like the oddball police consultant
Yeah.
monk style.
No, I like the concept. I think this is probably a good time to segue into our sponsor break.
Oh, we should probably do that. Oh my God,
Yeah.
it's 46 minutes in. What happened to the time? This is our last one sponsor, one sponsor password ship. I'm so tired.
Yes. All right. This is going to be great. We don't owe them anything. It's the last read. Brett, I want you to bring everything you've got today or don't have to this read. Go.
Okay, you got it. Let me, I got to zoom my script in here so it's huge on my screen. Okay, I've done this before. It shouldn't be hard. Imagine
in a world.
Imagine in a world, your company's security is like a quad on a college campus. There are nice brick
Yes.
paths between the buildings. Those are the company-owned devices. IT-approved apps and managed employee identities. Brett, take it away.
And then there are the paths that people actually use. The shortcuts worn between what?
Can-
What?
Can I do Foley? Hold on.
Yes.
We're walking. Okay. Sorry. Go ahead.
And then there are the paths that people actually use. The shortcuts worn through the grass that are the actual straightest line from point A to B. Those are the unmanaged devices, shadow IT apps, and non-employee identities like contractors. Most security tools only work on those happy brick paths. Do you have a sound effect for happy brick paths?
Whee!
But a lot of security problems take place on the shortcuts. 1Password Extended Access Management is the first security solution that brings all of these unmanaged devices, apps, and identities under your control. It ensures that every user credential is strong and protected, every device is known and healthy, and every app is visible. 1Password Extended Access Management solves the problems that traditional IAM and MDM can't. It's security for the way we work today, and it's now generally available to companies with Okta and Microsoft Entra and in beta for Google Workspace customers. Check it out at onepassword.com/overtired. That's one as in the number one, onepassword.com/overtired. And seriously, we're joking around, but thank you, 1Password. It has been a pleasure, and we are all big fans, and
Huge fans.
don't take it personally. We love you.
What if we and so thus ends the sponsor break?
Yes.
Okay. What if when we don't have sponsors, we work our way through fake sponsorships for the various Linux distributions?
Ooh. Okay. So the very first
Today
one
is brought to you by Linux Mint.
this episode is brought to you by Hannah Montana Linux,
Mm.
which is my favorite
Ooh.
Linux.
Wow, I'm not.
I remember
familiar
that.
with
Yeah,
this Linux.
we talked about that one once.
We
You
did.
shared-
I did.
You
I
sent
shared it.
screenshots and everything.
I did. And I like it has actually been my low-key dream. Ooh, maybe that's what I'll do on my 2 weeks off. Maybe I'll like come up with a new theme for like a more modern Linux distro and be like, here's a respin, Hannah Montana Linux 2025.
Oh man. Oh, I love this so much. Okay, can I two things. One,
Yes.
my wife was working on a vacation that literally that was going to be like Japan and Montana in the same summer, and we called it Japan and Montana, and I'm really sad now because I wanted to get like matching family shirts that said
Yes.
Japan and Montana 2025.
Amazing.
But anyway, very good. But also yesterday, so we have this amazing place called Free Geek here, which is like, it's two things. It's an electronics thrift store, they call themselves, but it's also a place where you can go sit at a table and take apart electronics that you pull from a mountain of electronics to be recycled. Basically, they split all the parts up, send them off to recycling. Anything that can be fixed or whatever goes into this thrift store, but also things just people bring in. There was, and I swear to God, I was so close to buying it. It was $120. It was this beautiful pink enclosure of a computer, of a CPU, and it was like a square, and it was weird, and it was gorgeous, and it was a Linux Mint box. And like it was $120. It was from 2016. My son and I were just staring at it, and I'm like, do I bring this home? Do I bring this home? I did not bring it home, but it was gorgeous. And I wish I could meet the person that made it, because it was just the best. Anyway, that's all. Linux Mint. Thank you, Linux Mint, for sponsoring us today.
We appreciate it, Linux Mint, and stay tuned, Hannah Montana Linux, because you're next.
Yeah. Yeah. We could have a sweepstakes for Japan and Montana where
Yeah.
we give people, we could all probably, we could probably collaborate and like pool our points and give a listener a trip to Japan and Montana. Maybe.
I don't want to do that.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. That's fine.
Fine.
I
Fair
do
enough.
want to do a gratitude.
Okay.
Oh, fine.
Who goes first? Do I go first?
Yeah, you go first.
Okay, so I have owned a license for DevonThink Pro since I don't know, fucking 90s. Like for as long as it's been around. I've always been enamored with DevonThink, and I used it a decade ago for a little while. And it overwhelmed me. And for the succeeding years, I always renewed my license. I always owned the latest version and never really got into it. And I generally would use like Curio for brainstorming, and I would keep all my notes in Markdown in NV Ultra. And every time I loaded up DevonThink, there are so many ways to organize information and so many different kind of approaches that you kind of have to design your own system. And it always got so fiddly that I gave up on it. But this time, as I'm doing all of this research on dysautonomia and my symptoms and trying to cross-link and cross-reference, and I needed to store PDFs and I needed to store web archives and web locations mixed in with all my Markdown notes. And I needed to be able to annotate and link annotations to other PDFs and other documents. And DevonThink was the only thing that could do all of that. So I finally got into DevonThink, and now that I'm into it, I'm really into it. I loaded up just to look at the beauty of my research collection. And every time I get to add a new PDF to it and link it and classify it and categorize it and tag it, I get really excited now because like so much of it is kind of automatic once you have your system set up, and all of my keywords and tags from other systems import into it. And it works perfectly with like my LinkedIn RSS feed for bookmarking. It works with NV Ultra. I can access all of my Markdown notes and PDFs in NV Ultra, add notes, edit notes, and it's already automatically synced in DevonThink and vice versa. And when you save a web page, you can choose to Markdownify it. And the tool they use for Markdownification is my Marky the Markdownifier version 1.0.
Awesome.
I gave it to them. They host their own Marky 1.0. And I just started talking with Eric, the CEO, and we're gonna upgrade them to Marky 2.0.
Ooh,
So
that's exciting.
it's quite an honor. They've been using my software longer than I've been using theirs. So
I love DevonThink. I've been using it since either George W. Bush's first or second term.
yeah,
Yeah. Amazing. And it just gets better and better, and it's so solid. It's never janky. It's incredible. You can throw so much at it.
I am under NDA to talk about the next version. So I can't tell you anything about it. All I can tell you is there's cool stuff coming. It's gonna be cool.
Excellent. That's awesome.
You should get on the beta. You should sign the NDA and get on the beta.
Yeah, I could do that. I mean, yeah, I'll check
I'll
it
hook you
out.
up. I'll hook you up.
Hook me up at the beta, dude.
All right.
All right.
That's mine.
Awesome. Christina,
Okay.
you ready?
I will go next. Okay, sorry. Give me 1 second. I've got to sign into my account, which this is going to be fun to see how this works in 12 minutes.
Do you want me to go?
No. It's just like because I'm losing access to my GitHub accounts in 12 minutes. Not my personal account. Obviously, they'll take me off of stuff. Okay, so
Yes.
this is a cool app. So I'm sure we've all been in this experience where we download apps that don't have a developer signature on them for whatever reason, and you can obviously run terminal commands to put them in quarantine or dequarantine them or whatever. I even had an alias set up at one point, but it's annoying. It's only getting worse with Sequoia. So and it will only get worse. So there is an app that is called Sentinel that is signed. That is there's a Swift UI gatekeeper configuration UI, and so all you have to do is drag your app to either self sign it or remove it from quarantine, and it will do that for you. So you can
That's
install it
nice.
from Homebrew. If you use this user's tap, or you can get it off of his whatchamacallit, GitHub repo. The same developer also makes a app called Pair Cleaner, which is very similar to App Cleaner, but is apparently supposed to be better. So I don't really know the differences there, except
You
that
mean like app delete?
no yeah, app cleaner, which is like the uninstaller app.
I thought, yeah, there's a bunch. I use
There's
app
an app.
delete,
The
but
one I've used is app
actually I
cleaner.
use Hazel now, but yeah.
Yeah, the one I
Okay.
use is app cleaner, but Hazel works well too. So anyway, this is one that he has that pair cleaner, which is pretty good. I think it's basically app cleaner, but it's supposed to be more updated. And but Sentinel is I'm a fan, and this is definitely something that like I am appreciative of not having to always remember like whatever the hell the command is, because the thing is that I have aliases on like one of my machines, but like not on all of them, because I
Yeah.
don't properly git repo all of my aliases. I need to get on that. But yeah, this is just a little
Yeah,
nerd
no,
up,
that's
but I'm
awesome.
fan.
I definitely run into that, and I don't know why people are releasing software without signing it, but it happens a lot.
Well, the
And
reason is because obviously there are ways where you can like sign without paying for a developer fee, but it's
yeah,
complicated, and I
that's
I
fair.
fully understand, especially for like open source types of stuff, like where people are like, I don't want to give Apple $100 a year if I'm not making any money on this. Why do I need to spend $100 a year to do this? I actually fully understand that. Like, I think it's not
Yeah,
a great
Apple should
practice
have I mean, Copilot you get Copilot for free if you develop open source. Why wouldn't you get your Apple developer account for free if
because
you weren't doing anything commercial?
that they would view that as a potential like not privacy vector, like a certain security vector, like that. I think that they would think that there would be a lot of people who would come up with accounts for nefarious reasons so that they could have stuff. And it's like, okay, but in that case, you just cancel the
You
account.
revoke the yeah,
You
like
just revoke
you
the key.
control the signature.
Right.
Yeah. All right, that's awesome. What you got, Jeff?
Mine is a piece of software that came out 42 years ago next week. It's called Lotus 123. And here's why I'm not kidding. We have a 90s PC here because my two sons love like Doom and Quake and all these old 90s games, and they insist on playing them on a 90s PC. So at this electronics thrift store I talked about, we picked one up. It's 46, not quite the Pentium yet. Thinking of building a Pentium machine over the summer. Talk about that later. But I have all these diskettes from back in the day, and they start in about 95 and go through about 2001. And so much of my journaling and things I wrote and stuff from the Iraq organization I helped to run and stuff like that are on these diskettes. And I wanted to just like transfer them. And so we actually have like a 5 gigabyte drive on this thing, like living in the future. And so I pulled all these things in. And what was amazing, so I got Lotus 123 off the free shelf at this thrift store. And it was still wrapped, and I was like, this is fucking
Amazing.
awesome. This is going to be so fun. So like I loaded it up. It's great. And it's so, I mean, it was so powerful at the time, so exciting at the time. When I didn't use it at 83. I used it around like 92 or something like that. But like there were all these files that I couldn't open because I don't have the software anymore or whatever else yet. I haven't loaded it on. And it was able to just like dig in there and pull the content out, not just be a spreadsheet program. Like it's really got this amazing ability to just like parse any kind of file and pull content out in a way that's readable. And I was blown away. I was like, go get him, Lotus 123.
Hell yeah.
And it like it allowed me to see like old journals and old like emails from the earliest days of email and like all this different stuff. And it was just like, I was so impressed. And I loved that I got it wrapped off a free
Yes.
shelf.
That's awesome.
Because it was actually, I knew it could probably do that. And so I actually had the excitement of going through the like 4-disc install where it's just like insert disc 2 of 4. That's just like, I fucking
remember.
To quote
I
a commercial
remember.
from the beginning of this, I fucking love computing. It's just the best. And then the funniest thing was I transferred all my diskettes onto a folder on my Windows 95 desktop. And then felt secure, which is really funny. I was like, oh, it's all saved.
It's
How
wild.
many of those blue trifold Windows 95 CD holders did you guys have? With each one with its own serial number on it that you had to type
Yeah.
in?
I only had
Uh,
one, but or yeah, because I had one for 195, and then I had one, I guess, for 98, but I had a bunch for XP.
Yep,
Um,
yep.
I had a bunch
Awesome.
for XP, but and it was green for home, and it was blue for Pro,
Right.
because that was
And
the
you
first time
could
that needed that.
buy like a 5-pack on like eBay.
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
don't know how
like
legit they were,
CDW.
but
I mean, they were fine enough. Look, the key
I
that I
always
used.
had collections of them.
Yeah, I was gonna say I used that one Windows 95 key. Let me find it. 5 key. It's famous. It's like the um, whatchamacallit.
The God mode.
Yeah, no. The quintessential Windows XP key
Yeah.
was the one like everybody used for forever. That was leaked from
Yeah.
like the Gold Master or whatever, and like everybody used that key for years, and then finally, like in like 2005 or something, like Microsoft finally like banned it, but you know, it had worked for a really, really long time.
That's awesome. But by the way, just real quick, I'm on the Lotus 123 Wikipedia page, and
Amazing.
there's an image for a sample macro, and the image is actually a picture of like a yellowing dot matrix printout of the macros code. That's the actual.
FCKGW. Sorry, FCKGW.
Oh, yeah.
That
Oh,
was
yeah.
the
I
one. Yeah,
remember
yeah.
this.
Awesome.
All right. I
Ooh,
made it through.
can we do a whole episode one time, like it's 92, and we could just
Yes.
not acknowledge anything that came after it? That
No,
really
I love that
try.
idea. I love that idea. Like genuinely, I'm completely there. Right? Like
All
just
right, all right.
music, TV, movies,
We'll be the
computing.
earliest tech podcast.
Oh my
Oh,
God.
that's our new podcast, the earliest tech
The
podcast.
earliest tech podcast. That would actually be really, really fun to just
That
go
would be
back to a
fun.
day in time and be like, let's react to what the news was at the time and like talk about those
Yes.
things as if we have no
Yes.
idea what's coming
And
in the future.
yeah, and not acknowledge any, like we can be awed by, like 256 megabyte hard drives.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, because we would be, right? Like in
We
1992,
could be like,
that
I
would
don't
be
even know why they
amazing.
call these floppy disks. They're not floppy at
They're
all.
not floppy. Who would ever need more than 1.44 megabytes ever?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. Remember when a floppy was floppy?
Yeah.
Anyway.
These
All right.
CD-ROM games are, I don't know, man. I don't know if this technology is going to take off.
All right.
All
I'm
right.
in. All right.
I gotta quit while I'm still
Brett,
conscious
good
because I
luck.
still have to edit this.
Take it slow.
Yeah, we'll try. Thanks you guys. Good to see you.
Good to
We
see
might
you.
be on break. We might be on break for a couple weeks here. We'll find out. We'll see who shows up next week. Maybe none of us. All right. Love you
All
guys.
right. Yeah.
you
You
guys.
sleep.
Get
Get
some
some
sleep.
sleep.
System is going down.